fiction hangs in the air, a prediction of what will be, a self-fulfilling prophecy. Does it matter to you? It's a lie. It's a thin white line running down the street, keeping the lies with me. Street where the truth and the lies always meet, and the asphalt cracks in the heat of the day when the leaders millions walk over and say, manipulate the street, it'll go our way.
It sounds good, Jules.
I didn't like the low end.
No, the guitar sounds really nice.
That's not what that guitar sounds like.
They changed the strings on there.
The strings, yeah.
They sound very bright.
Thank you. for the left of the piano.
No, don't put it on the car, just put it on the stand.
Hi guys. Hi. How you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. The wife of the builder, and she's sitting over here.
None of them were thing.
Yeah, it's really just nice to see you. You don't have to sit in this, but it's all right. Here. I'm glad to be able to hear. Come on. Robert told me she was still smoking for us.
Not really,
You know what the worst part? The worst part for me is I can remember my mother didn't run like this, as far as I'm concerned. But when I started to see myself doing things that she was doing, it scared me. I'm like, oh God. I remember when my mother was doing this, and when I was like, Mom. And that's just not gonna fly. Because I'm gonna be stubborn. Today I was bad because I was on, I had to get on my hands and knees. And I had to get up.
Get up. Get up, yeah, this is so bad.
Yeah, it's like, okay, which knee do I work on? Okay. So,
This is tricky. This is tricky.
yeah.
Get on your
And
knees.
you have to think about it before you go to.
Definitely.
Oh, God.
It's nice to say she saw the pictures. Got that?
I didn't see any
Okay,
pictures.
I put it up tonight.
I just saw it on my phone either. But I would have been there had I been able to be there. Oh, I had a class. I've got a class until mid-October. So I think I only have 2 weeks left and then I'm back. And it killed me to miss Italian American night.
It was nice. It really was.
And Carmelina is coming in January. She said yes. I couldn't believe she said yes. But I figured, knowing Robert was not a bad thing for me to say. He was my go-between, he was my liaison. So that was good.
Yeah.
And how was his season? Is he still playing? Are they still
They
playing?
just finished Monday was the Saturday. They lost to the Billy Goats. And then we did one St. Jude charity, which it's not, it's separate, but there's St. Jude's charity softball marathon tournament. I'm sorry, it's all right. It's all right. Yeah. So one word. Tournament coming up.
Yeah, he said, that stuff hurts. I said, yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah. And when he walks in, I don't ask him if he wants to watch cats. I just look at his face, I look for beers and juice.
You give him a glass of wine.
Alright, no injuries? How you doing, guys? I mean, I know of what I speak. I mean, hamstrings and broken bones.
Yeah. No.
working with them.
Oh boy, he really got it.
Okay. We know the game.
Well, there's no doubt that there's passion.
Even at home, so when you get it.
I wish I had gone to Catholic school in some ways because we didn't have gym until I moved to California. I moved to California when I was 10, and we had sports, and I didn't know what that was. Because we didn't have gym teachers in St. Anthony's. Nothing. So, four square on the street, you know, dodgeball. I guess I learned that in California. Tetherball. I can't remember the other games I learned in California, but that's the first time I ever knew you could have gym.
See, now I went Catholic school a year ago, and
I did too.
we had
Zip. We had a playground. Go play. Okay. Here's a ball. Play horses. Do something. That's what we did. Science was just about as comprehensive.
Talking about injuries and all like that, I think about his old stories that Richard told me.
Oh, Richard. Oh gosh. He played hockey in addition to everything else, and
He was like the enforcer for his team.
oh boy.
He's now 80.
And he would play hockey in a heartbeat. Wow. In a heartbeat, but he stopped playing in his 70s.
in his 70s.
In his 70s. And he was still being active in his voice. He only got it really bad once. Spent a couple days in the hospital. Sort of.
Like it matters. I was just hoping to see you guys. I didn't know if you'd be here in person. I'm trying to be as supportive as possible, and David just took over Northwood Hospital.
I saw, first I saw the plea for, you know, support, and then I saw,
What she put in the newspaper was not. I got a sense of humor. We don't get news anymore. We used to, but we don't anymore. And one day, I go and I look in the driveway and there's a news day. I pick it up, and the only day we've ever gotten it, then or since, is the article about the art school which is closing down, which I thought was pretty darn funny. So, somebody suggested to us that since the former director was in drama and, you know, plays and stuff, and perhaps it was a dramatic role to garner a certain response. And if that was what she did, it worked. Because we've been getting donations coming in. And, you know, we were sitting in the parking Yeah, well, when you put them on the board. And I had to deal with it in a chat bot or something, you know, it wasn't a human being, it was AI. This was like, when I was working, so this was like 2018. And I got one Facebook joke for that.
That's too funny. How long? Couple of weeks ago? I didn't know where you wanted to say, so I didn't play it myself.
Yeah,
I just sit in the front and read the
Yeah, on
English
Facebook,
translation.
there's people that wanna see that, I see that.
Wow.
No, I
You
don't.
speak English?
I hope so.
I don't know what the algorithm is.
into forever. And I want you to know if there's a way to show my love from the grave, I will always be with you for the rest of your days. I wanna be right and admit when I'm wrong. I wanna stand out. I wanna belong. I wanna have purpose. And I wanna live long. And when I'm done, I wanna be remembered. Don't wanna disappear into the forever. And I want you to know if there's a way to show my love from the grave, I will always be with you for the rest of your days. I will always be with you for the rest of your days.
Hi, everyone. Josie Bello, the very talented Josie Bello, who we've been working with for a few years. I like to call her one of our resident. My name is Caitlin Shea, and I'm the executive director for Walt with Birthplace. We're gonna have a beautiful, beautiful evening here tonight in our interpretive center. If you haven't been here before, the house that Walt Whitman was born in 1819 is out there. We give tours of the house and talk about his family life, and then all the way throughout his life, all of his accomplishments, all of his observations. And we'd love to share that with the public. It's very educational. It gives us such a great sense of history and the legacy of Whitman as a poet. Most of our poets are at least somewhat influenced by everything that Whitman wrote. And we're very lucky tonight to have some international voices coming in for our poetry that we're going to listen to. There are more people coming in, wonderful. So first and foremost, I want to thank all of you for being here tonight, supporting the local poetry scene, which is so important. It's important to praise all of our artists locally, right here on Long Island. And thank you for being here for us as well. It's a really, really difficult time for museums. And Becoming a member means a lot to us right now. Currently, it's just a tough time financially, but we're making our way through it. But anything you can donate, become a member and have your own poetry book in the shop. You can also, at the lowest level, come here and have a picnic anytime you want. It's beautiful out here in different seasons. So we really appreciate all of your support. So tonight you'll be meeting, perhaps for the first time, George Wallace, our writer in residence. I can't believe it's the 15th year of walking with Whitman. I just realized it again. I was lucky enough to be here for the 10th year, and we're just at another milestone here. And we're so lucky to have George Wallace. Without him, I don't think that we would have these diverse voices coming here as frequently as we do. 6 times a year, we have programs like this. George does an amazing job with our local poets, but also poets from all different places. George travels quite a bit himself, and that's how he brings us all of these poets. So thank you, George, for always being that person here at the Birthplace. So just give him a big round of applause. And our trustee treasurer, Robert Savino, I want to thank him too. You will meet him tonight as well because he will be doing the translations. Very hands-on trustee. Thank you so much, Robert. And I'm so happy to have you all here with us. And let's get started. Come on up, George.
Caitlin is correct. I am George Wallace. And I've been involved with the Walt Birthplace since 1988 when I came back from overseas. And I was writing for the Long Islander newspaper. And right from the get-go, one of my assignments was to cover events here at the Birthplace. There was a time before there was no wraparound, center like this. There was no fence. Sometimes beer cans could hit the house practically from people driving past. So there's been a lot of changes since 1988, and all to the good. And a lot of it has to do, I think, with the commitment over the years of Long Island regional poets, but an enlightened administration here at the Birthplace, especially with the advent of Caitlin Shea. She's really made that. So I want to thank you, Caitlin, for your devotion. Now that Caitlin has shamed me, I won't be able to retire from doing this. I'll have to do it again next year. So,
You better.
so we have a lot of good plans for next year. This summer for continuing this series. But to be honest, I mean, there are so many program activities now here at the Birthplace, with the challenges to museums in general, funding in general, and carrying certain politics and social attitudes forward as a nation, can be very challenging. So courage to you. Keep up the good work. We have 2 people here, like Caitlin says, I can't mention, 2 people from overseas. Although the first one is kind of a Queens guy at this point. But each of these people I met most recently at international conferences. So I'll tell you about each one of them. First one, Hassanal Abdullah, who's going to be coming up first, is well known really for, I think, 30 years here in the New York area as a representative of Bengali writing community. His leadership with Shabdagucha magazine in particular, an organization of things that he's done to bring out the voice of Bengali poets here in the New York area. For decades, really, has been very impressive. Most recently, though, I've started to see him do more and more as a poet himself, and we met together just in July, I think it was, in Guatemala, up in Mayan country. And to watch this guy work the Mayan kids in the schools was an amazing thing to witness, and very impressive. a relationship that he was able to build just from like that with the students was a model for me. So, a good friend has got a number of people from the Long Island writing community in his most recent Shantagucha magazine, which just came out, I think, in December, January, something like this, including Robert Savino and Barbara Southard and Mindy Cronenberg and a number of others, but it's still a international product. And a fine poet himself, so please welcome him to the stage, Hassanal Abdullah.
Thank you, George. Thank you, Kathleen. And Jennifer, my wife is here, Nazrin Shimon. And my publisher from Bangladesh. Oops, so many books in here. Let me see if I can put it here. It is my pleasure to be here at Walt Whitman place, Birthplace. I don't know how many times I have been here. This is the first time though I'm here for reading. And every time I came here and I thought, oh, wow, if I could read here. So, it's the first time reading, and thank you for coming over. I mean, incredible. Please give applause for everybody for being here. I hope that, obviously my co-reader, Roberto from Chile. Thank you, Roberto. This is the first time I met Roberto, and I tell you, it won't be the last time. I'm going to start off with a little cash. That's the title of the poem. Most of these poems I'm going to read tonight, are translated from Bengali to English. But I'm going to read some poem that I directly wrote in English. So this one is translated by Nazrul Islam Raz he used to live in London. He died in 2015, it's a very early age in an accident, with a little cash. If I have a little cash, I will open an art shop. My modernist call will raise echo and journey to corners of places not reached before. Let a few days pass by. If I have a little cash, I will wash your soft feet with spring water. If I have some money, I will buy the giant sky, wandering all day on its floor. Birds will wake me up, and they will again put me easily asleep. The world will find my hands in its own if the crooked line of restlessness is wiped away. With some money, I will spend my time listening to the bees. Faraway conversation, no longer talking from where to where, no more wasting of snow. Bangladesh, take note of it. I will rest my head upon your breast and sleep all night in tranquility if I have just a little cash. Thank you. I have been working for it ever since I met George in his place. We were there for a reading long time ago. I don't know how many years ago. The next one is God's Home. In my childhood, I saw many gods with their red, white eyes full of threads. My days passed by like a scared chicken thrown into the corner of domesticity. I did not raise my eyes to face them eye to eye. They were in my head as well as in thought's soft stage and standing still in my path of vision. I was not unhappy walking behind them, but at times I longed for a walk on the horizon away from their kingdom, the thirst of freedom loomed in my burning breast. Gods are still there, even more modern, robust, with their feet on atomic spheres. Their cobwebs imprison my days. In fact, I have not moved an inch from their kingdom. Thank you. You know, I've been a high school math teacher for 27 years, then I retired last year. I read this poem to my student, the next one. It's a very short poem, and I got so many nice reviews from them, and they had a lot of questions. Evolution. People smell like a horse, but a horse does not smell like them. People smell like a dog, but a dog does not smell like them. People smell like a rat, but a rat does not smell like them. People smell like a jackal, but it is really surprising that a jackal does not also smell like them. Thank you. Next, I'm going to read a few poems from this book, Under the Thin Layers of Light. This book has been translated into 4 languages so far. This is in English. The Spanish version just came out this year. Polish version came out 2021. And Chinese version came out 2019. And some Italian version is going to come out soon. An Arabian version, someone is working on it from Morocco. So I will read the first poem from here. This itself has been translated into 50 languages. When God is dead. When God is dead, I will swim in the river. I will play football and get a lot of fans to cheer for it. When God is dead, I will climb the big tree up in Forest Park near my house and kill all the squirrels to save my garden full of vegetables. When God is dead, I will eat a tuna fish sandwich and 5 fried cockroaches as a side order, and ask you guys to rethink about Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, and Krishna, for whom you have been killing each other for centuries. When God is dead, I will stop writing poems, and believe me, my lady, I'll be in a bed with you for 3 consecutive days and nights, and we'll never be separated. You know, years ago, Mass Poetry Festival, they had a seminar on translation. I read this poem and I asked them, is it a translation or is it written in English? Half of the people say it's a translation, half of the people say it's written in English. I don't even remember if I read this in English or I translated. So I believe the translation should be like that. The next poem, I'll read in both languages. First in English, then in Bengali. But while I read in Bengali, I'll need your help. I will eat. I will eat. Eating now and will eat more. Whatever I get, I will eat for sure. I will eat the dawn, the dusk, and the dark. On the way to work, back to home, I will eat on the train and bus. I will eat whatever I pass. I will eat heaven and hell, white guys and the loon. I will eat the sun and the moon. I will come and go as I wish, eating the bugle of 1,000 battles at ease, scandals too, whatever I please. I will eat silver, gold, eyes, ear, and the face. I will eat each and every race. Yes, I will. I will eat palaces, coaches, guards of all swine and roaches. I will eat the mask of the hypocrite. Yes, I will eat. I will eat peasants, the monarch's head, alive, not the dead, the tyrant's fate with faith. I will eat. Thank you. Now the same poem I'll read in Bengali. You're gonna have to help me for that. Say Ami Khabo. Can you say Ami Khabo?
Ami Khabo.
Very good. Ami Khabo means I will eat. So আমি খাবো, খাচ্ছি এবং আরো খাবো, যা যা পাবো আমি খাবো, আমি খাবো, আমি খাবো। সকাল খাবো, সন্ধ্যা খাবো, রাত্রি খাবো, কাজে যাওয়া আসার সময় ট্রেন ও বাসের যাত্রী খাবো, আমি খাবো, আমি খাবো। আকাশ খাবো, পাতাল খাবো, ভদ্রলোক আর মাতাল খাবো, চন্দ্র খাবো, সূর্য খাবো, হাজার রঙের তুর্য খাবো, ইচ্ছা মতন আসবো যাবো, ইচ্ছা মতন ইচ্ছা খাবো, আমি খাবো, আমি খাবো। রৌপ্য খাবো, স্বর্ণ খাবো, মুখ চোখ ও কর্ণ খাবো, বিশ্বের সব বর্ণ খাবো,
আমি খাবো, আমি খাবো।
You are doing great. Little more. দালান কোঠা গাড়ি খাবো, সব শুয়োরের নারী খাবো, ভণ্ড খাজার দাড়ি খাবো,
আমি খাবো, আমি খাবো।
প্রজা খাবো, রাজা খাবো, মৃত নয় তাজা খাবো, অত্যাচারীর সাজা খাবো, আমি খাবো, আমি খাবো। One more time. আমি খাবো, আমি খাবো। Wow, you are a great audience. I love Walt Whitman. Obviously, when I came to US, the first book I bought is Leaves of Grass. And I don't know how many versions of that book I have in my shelf. The next poem is a love poem. 2016 I went to China. And when this poem was read in Chinese, young ladies, they are taking the picture of this in Chinese version. They say, well, we are going to give it to our boyfriends. He said, wow. And the next day, someone was waiting to see me, and you know who is that? He is the head of the opera, institute in China. He wants to make an opera with this, and he wanted my permission. I don't know if the opera was made, but he took my permission. Anxiety in the Milky Way. This is the bewildering body of that poem whose emotion-drenched eyes last night made me passionate. Sitting in the dream-cleansed room of the astounding house, surrounded with tall trees and drenched in cricket's hum, I relish each and every twist and turn of her lustrous limbs, completely sleepless throughout the whole night. Starting from the toenail, gliding up through the smoothness of the slender body to the sway of her perfumed hair, last night every cell of her shape was in my total control. As if I were a brazen bison of 22, a vibrating valiant, and she was an unveiled virgin of blooming 18. I entirely dissolved into her luminously brilliant. No, it's not a dream. Believe me, I was up for the whole night with my new poem, plunging deep into the success in the cascade field, up with the proposition of the wind. I permeated through the fortunate green of the earth, and today walked out hand in hand, victorious. You know, after all, she herself is a postmodernist. Thank you. Sadly, the next poem is The Killing of My Dad. In 1971, there was a war between Bangladesh and Pakistan, and 3 million of our people were killed by Pakistanis. Unfortunately, Americans were helping Pakistanis at that time. However, American public gave us $71 million in the refugee camp for us to survive. So, government and American public, ever since I came to this country, I understood the difference. I'm a proud American. There's no doubt about it. The cacophony of the gunfire. Suddenly he jumped into the river. Suddenly he managed to jump into the river. Suddenly, at the devastating moment, he jumped into the river. Suddenly, at that fearsome, devastating moment, he jumped into the river. Suddenly, with a horrible wound, at that fearsome, bloody, devastating moment, he jumped into the river. The surging waves turned red with his blood. The cacophony of the clattering gunfire was still vibrating in the air, and the constant cry of the wounded and dying. Thank you. If you read my bio, you know that I have been writing sonnets differently, other than Shakespeare and Petrarch. This is called Swatantra Sonnet. I wrote 229 so far, and 6th edition of the book in Bengali came out. Is the publisher of the 6th edition. And this is the English version. There are 2 English versions. One came out from here, New York. This came out last year from India, Odisha, India. And the sonnets are 7 stanza. This is 100 in my own translation. And rhyming A, B, C, D, A, B, C, E, F, G, D, E, F, G. I'll read 2 sonnets. The first one is a love sonnet. I have heard the noble sound of your footsteps, my love. Come closer and slowly open your heart. Spread the fragrance of your beautiful breast. Let the door be closed. Embrace me tightly with your gentle hand and set your sweetest lips on mine like a white dove. Keep on crawling up to finding my heart's main thread, vivid as the spring trembling at the ocean floor. Take off the seamless boutique sari and raise both hands to untie your hair. Brush me like rose petals. Without you, I'm always lonely, dry and dark. Implant the fresh eternal light in my dream land. Don't bother making the bed tonight. Rather soothe the warmth of my tense body, my topical cell spreading the pure touch of my astounding spark. Thank you. Unfortunately, the next sonnet is a war poem about Hiroshima Nagasaki. Sonnet number 121. Sometimes death itself stays awake throughout the whole night. the way once Nagasaki did with the flame of the nuclear bomb in its charred heart, those starred August nights might be harshly suited to the dead. That coward, hapless, and husky time turned the soul of civilization with its raging emblems. Since then, anything is possible in this world. Since then, we live closer to death as if our days are calm like a half-wits. Staying awake, we could hear the dead like insects singing vigorous vibes. Our Hiroshima existence often shredded in the casket of death and hunger and the rage, the bloody wounds of the late 1940s would still ooze horrible paths grinding all our lost lives. Thank you. You know, I have been translating a lot. This is a book, Contemporary Bangladeshi Poetry, 38 poets. Why don't I read two translations? One of my wife's poem, she is sitting there. I translated her poem and there was a book. So, Hollowness on the Horizon. Human Race from the East, her poem, my translation. The abscess that has been growing on the peak of the world for millennia is now in the worst pain. Countless attacks of the world wars of independence, the Persian Gulf, and the Cold War have totally broken its fresh green branches. Its smooth body, like a teenage girl, is inflamed by air attacks. Its rotten vagina now spreads a rank stink in the restless, sick, and bluish atmosphere made by the naked lunch of atoms. Although people are confused by the beckoning of a world composed 3/4 of colorless water, often lives are going down the drain, but still move on towards the perpetual clock with dreaming eyes, as if they will be at peace in the new millennia. And right before the abscess starts throwing its paws to the world, a Nobel laureate of the century comes forward with a scale to measure the distance of the human race from the East. Thank you. There was a poet, Humayun Azad, who was killed by the fundamentalists. And you know, last year, fundamentalists took over the country. I can't go there, they will kill me. Definitely, they will arrest me from the airport right away. So, my publisher, he can't go there either. They've already threatened to take my house from there, and his place, they tried to burn it 3 times, but somehow it survived so far, both my house and his place. So Humayun Azad was killed, he was chopped. This poem is written by Humayun Azad, probably for a little thing. I probably will die for a little thing, for a little leaf of grass and for a little drop of dew. I probably will die for a petal of a flower that will suddenly fly away in summer's breeze. I will die for a bit of rain. I probably will die for a little thing, for a short coo of a cuckoo, and for a little look of a toddler's face. I probably will die for a few drops of tears hanging from someone else's eye. I will die for a bit of sunshine. I probably will die for a little thing, for a little ray of moonlight and for a little glimpse of the clouds, I probably will die. For a butterfly lost in the 21st floor of a tower, I will die. For a hint of green, I probably will die. For a little thing, for a segment of a short dream, and for a little sadness, I probably will die. For a little sigh in someone else's sleep, I will die. For a bit of beauty. Thank you. He actually died for the bit of peace for the whole world. Doing with the time. Okay? All right. We are good. So, I'll read a few poems that I wrote in English. Why I wrote some poems in English? I was the Poet Laureate finalist of Queen's 2007. You know, the Queen's president in that ceremony talked about me a lot and said, you know, because of you, we had to postpone the announcement and we had to, they actually did it a month later. We found someone who was writing in English. So I said, well, let me write in English. So I wrote this book, the backside in English. Calamity. There's no escape from it. I told myself, there is no escape from juicy apples and ripe bananas. There is no escape from sunlight and darkness, laughter and sorrow, making and remaking a single bit of dreamy image that floats in the air on my deserted island of gorgeous sand dunes, my everlasting headaches. There is no escape from poetry. The next poem I'm going to read, there is a reason for it. The guy sitting over there, he was 6 years old at the time. He is now a lawyer. I took him to Bowery Poetry Club. I had a reading there, so I went on the stage. He wants to go to the stage. He went with me. And I was standing on side. They gave me a microphone, obviously. I was reading. He was standing on the other side. He wants another microphone. I said, well, give him a microphone. He is my publisher. They gave him the microphone. So I read the poem. After I read the poem, he said, this is not a poem. So everybody was laughing. So this is the poem. A love poem is called America. You are not the United States, I thought. You are just a bank teller sitting behind the bulletproof glass window and advancing amounts of money to some people you like. Thank you. Finding the difference. A poet and a priest are almost the same. The only difference is one believes in God and the other tends to be one. Should I read it again?
Yes.
A poet and a priest are almost the same. The only difference is one believes in God and the other tends to be one. You know, when I published this poem in my magazine, Shabdagutsu, that George mentioned, someone wrote to me, you don't know how to write English in English, don't write it anymore. And then, Tammy was doing an anthology, Tammy is American, 2007 or 8. I sent this poem. Tammy wrote to me, I'm going to start this anthology with this poem. So the anthology started with this poem. I'll read one more in English and then I finish up with the last poem from another book. So let's see which one. also about my dad, departure. Actually, he survived that attempt when they brush fired him. He jumped into the river I did, and he was wounded. Later, he died. But this is a little bit of how they tortured other people, not necessarily about my dad. Departure. A frantic calm all around the city, and the sound of bullets echoed in the air, making our ruthless existence even more meaningless. We collided at the corner, we coiled at the corner of our parents' bedroom. They covered us like scared chickens, wanting to save their little ones from the sharp claws of the cruel hawk. The army was going from door to door, killing everyone, burning every house with no mercy. It was absolutely a killing mission, as if they were wild cheetahs out for human flesh and blood. It was like a land of venomous beings who should be burned at first sight. When they knocked at the door, my mother fainted. After hesitation, my father finally opened the door and was gone. Luckily, we survived, but he became ashes of the tormented city. My second book in Polish just came out last month. This month, next Wednesday, I'm going to Poland for the 5th time. I always say that Poland is my second home because they love me so much. And recently, the second book that came out, there's a couple of poems. I'm going to read 2 more poems and that's it. So this one, my translator put it on Facebook. And this was written 30 years ago. As she said, still what's going on in all over the world right now, the killing and wars, all this, it still looks like it's sitting yesterday. A broken backyard. Life stands as if it were a broken backyard, not known to me at all. Looking into mirror, my face appears to be shrinking. The floating gunpowder smell roll over me. The war is everywhere, and the flickering blaze, blood-stained, sand-beaten bodies appear on the television all day and night. Now people become loaded ammunitions ready to trigger fire. Now people became timed Scud missiles appears to target. Now people became powerful nuclear reactors devastating the view of the bluish carpet bombing, the first and foremost winner of the long-range ballistic weaponry competition. Now people became a dead dog's decomposed body in a broken backyard, an unending whimper of a full-fleshed groaning. Thank you. I want to finish up with some hope. Where is that poem? I wait for something better. I wait for something better, a better start of the day, a better evening. I wait for a better song. birds' feathers, a better piece of poetry. I wait for a better breaking news. I wait for something better, a better afternoon, a luminous face, better words, sunny sky. I wait for a better book. I wait for something better, a better stream, a better boat, cheerful offsprings, a room full of guests. I wait for a better friendship. I wait for something better, a better house, an open balcony, a fresh breeze, lots of flowers, a better land of green, a better harvest. I wait for a better life. Thank you so much for listening.
We had a Suffolk County Board Laureate or a Nassau County Board Laureate. Back in 2002, we got the idea from Queens to have that position here in Suffolk County. So that inspired us. And still to this day, I think of the diversity, Queens being the most diverse county in the whole United States, and representing Queens, in terms of poetry, and we've had a very interesting development of people representing different ethnicities and different cultures. So I'm very proud of the way that Queens has conducted themselves. And just as I am here in Suffolk County, we've had 6 or 7 poet laureates since 2003, including Robert Savino and some others who not be able to be present today, but it's a distinguished thing to be able to do. That same year, New Jersey had a poet laureate that they didn't like, and they asked him to resign, and he would not resign, so they pulled the position of poet laureate in New Jersey, just so he couldn't, that person couldn't be the poet laureate. It can be very political. The fact that it's not so many times here, in our region is, I think, a testament to the quality of our communities. So, now, if you would please welcome back up Josie Bello.
So this is a song that I wrote a few years ago, and unfortunately it's still relevant. It's about lying, the lying that is done to us. And they think it's okay if you believe what they say. They walk around righteous. Every day if it's a lie, and you believe it, does it matter to you that it's a lie? Fiction hangs in the air, a prediction of what will be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Does it matter to you that it's a lie? It's a thin white line running down the street where the truth and the lies always meet, and the asphalt cracks in the heat of the day while the leader and his minions walk all over it and say, manipulate the street, it'll go our way. Deception works when perception rules, and then it becomes the truth. How does it feel to be played for a fool? Does it matter to you that it's a lie? The end justifies the means when it's all about money. Power and greed get the bear to behave, and the day is saved. Does it matter to you that it's built on lies? It's a thin white line running down the street where the truth and the lies always meet, and the asphalt cracks in the heat of the day while the leader and his minions walk all over it and say, manipulate the street, it'll go our way. If they believe there's a judgment day, then they believe they will take their lawyers to the grave, outsmart the devil and never have to pay. That's why they lie. Does it matter to you that they lie?
Beautiful, Josie.
100 years. I think it was Caleb when we first started writing the musicians in regularly. Linda Sussman too, she's been with us a couple of times, Josie and a number of others. And I think it's really important that we collaborate with visual artists and musicians as poets. And for that matter, dancers who have dancers here, so just incredible people. We're all going to stick together, so. To bring up our third person, who's going to be reading to you today, I'll tell you first of all that he's traveled 6,000 miles to read poetry to you from Chile. And he's not jet lagged. It's only 2-hour time zone difference. I don't know if there's anybody in your life that you've known over the years, and when you were with that person, you had conversation. It was just a very free-flowing conversation with that person, and you felt like you really could talk about anything. There's no inhibition between you. And then you don't see that person for 10 years or 20 years in some cases, and then when you see them again, you just pick up the conversation where it left off, as if it never stopped. And this is a person in my life. I only met him in Medellin, Colombia, in 2023, I think it was. But among all that great talent in Medellin, this is the one person that I could sit next to and really feel I could let my guard down completely and be a human being with this person. So, for personal reasons, it's a great pleasure for me to introduce Roberto Aedo to you, who's going to be reading to you in Spanish and some in English with the help of Robert Savino, who's going to be stepping up to the mic and reading a couple of pieces as well. Now, I know, because we practiced, that Roberto can read these things just fine in English, but he said, well, let's get somebody who can give a different kind of expression to it. So we're going to try this multi-person attempt. Roberto, as I told you, is from Chile. He has a very fine collection out, and a couple of collections in the pot ready to go. But more than that, he is a figure that can move his way through the international poetry scene in many locations, has demonstrated that over the years. I look forward to many years of working with him and hearing him read to you tonight. Please welcome Roberto Aedo.
Thank you so much for being here, all of you. I want to kindness. I want to thank Caitlin, and I want to thank Jennifer Orellana, who translated all the poems for you tonight. And I also want to thank to Felipe and Kay, close friends of mine. They traveled from Vermont 10 hours, the same hours that I traveled from Chile to here, to be here tonight. So thank you so much. Cheers. The first poem is about this complexity, the many layers human beings have, but in the context of the dictatorship in Chile. It's called, in Spanish, Lo Perdido. Esperé que llegara por mucho tiempo, el día de la vuelta, del retorno a mi país. Llegué con alegría, los ojos borrosos y una vívida emoción a cuestas, con un obsequio para cada uno de los que podrían estar. Pero nadie estuvo. Se habían ido y no hablo del exilio, la tortura o la muerte. Lo vivían por entonces aquellos a los que quise obsequiar. Y mi alegría es lo de menos. Yo no pude, nadie me supo explicar nunca. Tanto tiempo, tanta espera. No es justo. Ni siquiera recuerdo que se hicieron los regalos. Now I'm going to read it in English for you. George wanted that you can hear my funny accent in English. My English is so rusty, so sorry for that. The Lost. I waited for a long time for the day of return, the homecoming to my country. I arrived with joy, my eyes blurred, carrying a vivid emotion, with a gift for each of one of those who might be there. But no one was. They were gone, and I don't speak of exile, torture, of death, or death. By then, those I wished to gift were no longer alive, and my joy is the least of it. No one ever knew how to explain it to me. So much time, so much waiting, it's not fair. I don't even remember what became of the gifts. This one is about Hassanal. They shared some poems of his father, so I'm going to share with you some poems of my mom. This is called Alma Mater, Voluntad de Ser Radical. Puedo verla, carga 9 años y es un lunes, que podría ser martes o viernes, pero que es para siempre un lunes, de viento y lluvia en Concepción. Hija de un taxista dulce y ausente, con la voluntad quebrada, y de una dependiente gozadora, sin estudios, empleada por una familia tradicional de la industria farmacéutica, camina amorosamente muchas cuadras, temprano de madrugada, para llegar a la escuela. Su parca está hecha con una bolsa de basura y, sin que ella lo note, su infancia se parece mucho a esas lentas, a esas húmedas calles. Con los años, en un día martes, esa niña llegará a ser mi madre. Y yo elijo de esa lluvia, de esa soledad, ese camino. Alma Mater will to be radical. I can see her. She's 9 years old and it's a Monday, which could be a Tuesday or a Friday, but will be forever a Monday, of wind and rain in Concepcion. Daughter of a sweet, absent taxi driver, his wheel broken, and a joyful shop assistant without studies, employed by the traditional pharmaceutical family, she lonely walks many blocks early at dawn to reach school. Her parka is made from a garbage bag, and without her noticing, her childhood resembles those damp streets. Years later, on a Tuesday, that girl will become my mother. and I, the child of that rain, that solitude, that path. This is called Hijo de Hombre y de Mujer. Mi madre no lo sabe, pero yo sé que ella solía llorar a solas, calladamente, a puerta cerrada. Dios mismo dijo una vez a un peregrino que iba a la Meca, envanecido por sus sacrificios: no creas que tus acciones piadosas tengan algún valor ante mis ojos. El menor infortunio que sufras en secreto vale más que 1000 rezos que hagas por el camino. Mi madre no lo sabe, pero yo me alegro. Son of a man and a woman. My mother doesn't know, but I know that he used to cry alone, silently, behind closed doors. God himself once told a pilgrim on his way to Mecca, proud of his sacrifices: do not believe that your pious acts hold any value in my eyes. The smallest misfortune you suffer in secret, it's worth more than 1,000 prayers along the way. My mother doesn't know, but I'm glad. This is called Funeral Vigilado. Yo no sé, yo apenas veo una violeta para él. And I'm going to ask Robert Sabino, the poet, to help me with this reading, please. Thank you. Funeral vigilado, yo no sé, yo apenas veo una violeta para él. Los muertos, solamente has quedado dormido, quizás por el cáncer, envenenado por tu propia sangre, arrullado tal vez por el deseo, de seguro por la pena. Es toda una nación la que cae contigo, y te llevan cabizbajos, saliendo de la clínica, siguiéndola a ella que te llora como una profesional, siempre una mujer adelante, con zapatos y miedo, pero sin olvido, por calles espantosas como bocas cerradas, esas grietas invisibles, hollados corazones de la muchedumbre, latiendo para el último adiós. Lánguidos versos combativos, saludos a la bandera de una dulce materia grasa y gris, diplomática y consular. Atrás quedaban la infancia acontecida, prolongada niñez, sensibilidad fetichista y casi suicida, permanente origen proletario y la praxis, el discreto encanto enmascarado de la burguesía tras la conversión tardía, conveniente y tardía, pero ahora nunca es tiempo de venir a ver tu sangre por calles espantosas como cuencas vacías, como miradas militares, como piratas y ciegos multiplicándose, ahondándose en cada Juan, en cada José, cada María, prohibidos por el régimen, borrados de retratos y hasta del santoral, desaparecidos papeles y vidas, ahora como él, que les enseñó sin que lo supieran a nombrar el mundo por dentro y por fuera. Su muerte pudo, después de todo, tu silencio supo hablar por nuestras bocas muertas. Y es que, los muertos, sí, pero todavía se escuchan tus pasos, aquellos versos que balbucean sin saberlo el misterio, secreto genital del deterioro que florece, versos y ruinas silabeando un pueblo entero, mucho más que la cantata bajo la lluvia de la pobre internacional. Por muchos que no somos comunistas, Dios nos libre de inventar cuando cantamos, multiplicándose nuestro canto como un oscuro fantasma blanco, ardiente bola de miedo y frío, ojos llorosos, pero siempre dignos del Cordero, antes de haber pasado bajo el corvo y su anillo, coro amargo de la noche oscura Ali Baba y su estatua al oro infame. Contrarrevolución y aquelarre, cuántas sombras y canciones, cuántas espadas entre indefensos, guitarras y desmadres, amplificación y viudas, huerfanías y efectos, distorsión, roncan las estrellas con el que cantó tus versos, con las manos rotas, la ternura y algo más de 40 balas, todas legales, con sentido y sin razón en el cuerpo. Los muertos, solamente has quedado dormido como duermen las flores cuando se reclina el sol en invierno. This is about Pablo Neruda's death. It's also Víctor Jara's death inside. You will hear from him.
No, Roberto, I don't see here nothing wrong with your English.
Oh, thank you so much.
Very good. Watch arched funeral. I don't know, I barely see a violet for. The dead, the dead. You're merely fallen asleep, perhaps from cancer, poisoned by your own blood. Perhaps lulled by desire, surely by sorrow. A whole nation falls with you, and they carry you away, heads bowed, leaving the clinic, following her as she weeps for you, like a professional, always a woman leading the way, in shoes, in fear, but without forgetting, through dreadful streets, like closed mouths, those invisible cracks, trampled hearts of the crowd, beating for a last farewell, languid, combative verses, salutes to the flag of a sweet, gray, fatty matter, diplomatic and consular. Left behind was a childhood that happened to prolong boyhood, a fetid issue, almost suicidal sensitivity, a permanent proletarian origin in the praxis, the discreet, mask, charm of the burgeois. After the late convenient, and late comes conversion, but now or never, it is time. Now or never, it is time to see your blood through dreadful streets, like empty sockets, like military stairs, like pirates in the blind, multiplying, deepening every Juan, every Jose, every Maria, forbidden by the regime, erased from the portraits and even the saints' register, vanished papers and lives. Like him now, who taught them without them knowing to name the world inside and out. His death could, after all, his silence knew how to speak through our dead mouths. And oh, the dead, the dead. Yes, but still your footsteps are heard like verses that unknowingly stammer the mystery, the secret genitalia of decay that blossoms. Verses and ruins, syllabling an entire people, far more than a cantata, under the reign of the poor internationality. For many of us who are not communists, God forbid, invent things when we sing. Our song multiplying like a dark white ghost, a burning sphere of fear and cold, teary eyes, but always worthy of the Lamb before passing beneath the curved blade and its ring, the bitter choir of the dark night. Ali Baba and his statue of infamous gold, counter-revolution and witchcraft. How many shadows and songs, how many swords against the defenseless, guitars and madness, amplification and widows, orphanhood and effects, distortion, the star's horse, with the one who sang your verses, with broken hands, his tenderness, and something more than 40 bullets, all legal, meaningful, and senseless in his body. The dead, the dead. You are merely fallen asleep as flowers sleep when the sun reclines in winter.
Thank you, David. I could never read it like that. Not in my dreams. This is called fome, that it's a Chilean Spanish word for something that is really boring, but not this at all. Fome. ¿Alguna vez te has dormido leyendo mis papeles? No te culpo. Palabras que no son besos, miradas que viven el brillo de las tuyas, versos que no son las caricias que reclama tu cuerpo, poemas de un imbécil que te ama, pero que escribe para ti en otro lugar de la noche, en lugar de estar velando y desvelando tu sueño. Pobre, this is really boring for me. Boring. At some point, you have fallen asleep reading my pages. I don't blame you. Words that are not kisses, glances that fail to brighten your own, verses that are not the touch your body longs for, poems by a fool who loves you, but writes for you in another part of the night instead of keeping watch and unraveling your sleep. Every poem is about love and death too, but it's about love. When we hate, it's because something we love is in danger or it's harm, or so every poem is about love. But this is about one woman who taught me a lot about love, besides my mom. And this is called Sus flores, las mías. Sé muy bien que los jacarandás seguirán dejando flores a tus pies. Y ya no podré recogerlas para ti, ni hacer la música con que el amor nos regalaba todas las mañanas del mundo. Y ya no volveremos a caminar así de juntos por las calles, como una pareja de otra época que observa cómo es que va transformándose la luz, o cómo es que se va para siempre regresar, mientras mudas de color con cada nueva estación, ahora que éstas se entremezclan y confunden como hasta hace poco nuestras vidas. Sé muy bien que los jacarandá seguirán ofreciendo sus mejores flores, trayendo de vuelta tu sonrisa y el recuerdo de esas noches, cuando dormías de dulce cansancio o amargo hastío, pero siempre segura aquí en mi pecho, y leía a McCarthy o a Propercio, hasta que despertaras y pudiéramos leernos tiernamente haciendo esa música, o caminar tan así del brazo como una pareja de otra época, como Gianni y Luciana, con el tiempo detenido bajo los focos, con el tiempo recobrado. Bajo las luces se apagan, Gassman y Sandrelli regresan a sus casas, como toda película, como todo sueño. Y quiere a Dios que encuentres a tu Antonio, y que yo no siga siendo alguna especie de vanguardia, amargada y solitaria como la de Nicola, y que yo no siga preguntando a dónde voy a tus huellas en mi cuerpo. Sé muy bien que mientras haya vida, los jacarandás seguirán colocando pétalos como versos, como la vida ofrendándose a sí misma, sus flores, sus más frescas flores a tus pies.
Their flowers, mine. I know very well that the jacarandas will keep leaving flowers at your feet. And I will no longer be able to gather them for you or make the music with which love gave us all the mornings of the world. We will no longer walk so closely together through the streets, like a couple from another time, watching how the light changes or how it fades, only to return again. As you change colors and each new season now intermingles and confused, like our lives once were. I know very well that the jacarandas will keep offering their finest flowers, bringing back your smile and the memory of those nights when you slept, whether from sweet exhaustion or bitter weariness, yet always safe here in my chest. As I read McCarthy and Propertius, waiting for you to wake so we could read each other tenderly, or walk arm in arm like a couple from another time, like Gianni or Luciana, with time frozen beneath the streetlights, with time regained, with the lights, when the lights go out, Gaston and Sandrelli come back home, like every film, like every dream, and may God grant you your Antonio, and may I no longer be in some kind of avant-garde, bitter and lonely like the colors. May I no longer ask him, where am I going, to your traces of my body. I know very well that as long as life endures, the jacarandas will keep laying petals like verses like life itself, offering itself their flowers, their sweetest flowers at your feet.
I came from, as you know, from the land of Neruda, from the land of Mistral, from the land of Parra, Rojas, Lin, Tellier. But the first poet I truly loved in my life was Walt Whitman. At 13 years old, a classmate of mine gave me to read the 11th part of the whole poem, or the 11th poem of, as you prefer, Song of Myself, and I was blown away. And from then on, it's been a love story. I know that some poets in the inside tradition of the United States have troubles with them, even those one I really love, like Pound and Ginsberg, but once they were very strong, it doesn't feel that weight, they make pieces with it. So this is the first book I still have it. Yes, I'm 46 now, so you can do the math. Very free, like Jesus. Yes, but he didn't die. No. Resurrection. So this poem, it's about something that you can find as a young man and as an older one in Whitman's work. That we are one, that everything is one. And it's called Cántaro. El mundo es un gran cántaro que recibe el sacrificio. Desde la leche del tiempo de los Vedas al champán que vuela en todas direcciones en medio de la euforia desatada en el camerino. Desde la sangre vertida en la hecatombe hasta la cerveza que se arroja en memoria de los que partieron y ya no forman parte de la clica. Del flujo intemporal de los amantes al duelo, desde la guerra híbrida a la Eucaristía. Lo visible vuelve a lo invisible y la historia no ha sido sino una gran invasión. El mundo es un gran flujo, vertiéndose sin cesar en un cántaro desconocido.
Vessel. The world is a great vessel receiving the sacrifice. From the milk of Vedic times to the champagne that bursts in every direction amid the present frenzy unleashed backstage. From the blood spilled in the hecatombs to the beer poured out in memory of those who left and no longer belong to the clique. From the timeless flow of lovers to mourning, from hybrid warfare to the Eucharist, the visible returns to the invisible, and history has been nothing but a great libation. The world is an endless flow, pouring itself ceasingly into an unknown vessel.
I really love tea, but this is about poetry. Otra taza de té. Como el té, la poesía es una delicia para quienes la conocen. Aroma y gusto, imagen acústica. La hierba es el lenguaje y el agua un gesto, una honda experiencia humana. Activante y relajante, digestiva o festiva, en soledad o en compañía, ayuda a soportar la vida. Demasiada falta de realidad. De un año solo té, con más de 3 es medicina y pasados los 8, se convierte en un tesoro, palabra en el tiempo. Con un aroma y un olor, con un sabor que escapa a él cuando se cosecha a mano en familia, con vivos y muertos amorosamente. Aunque seamos los que menos recibimos en la cadena productiva, al menos no hay peligro de que se la coman, de que la devoren las bestias, los animales tiernos. Para ellos es simplemente demasiado amarga.
another cup of tea. Like tea, poetry is a delight for those who know it. Aroma and taste, an acoustic image, herb in language and water, a gesture, a deep human experience, activating or relaxing, digestive or festive, in solitude or company. It helps to endure life. Too much lack of reality. For 1 year, it's only tea. For more than 3, it's medicine. And after 8, it becomes a treasure, word in time, with scent and color, with a taste that escapes it when harvested by hand, in family, with the living and the dead, lovingly. Though we are among those who receive the least in the production chain, at least there's no danger of it being eaten, devoured by beasts, by the tender animals. For them, it is simply too bitter.
This is called Opening, Camino del Guerrero, Sakura Champloo. It's a poem that it's dealing and it has a dialogue with an anime TV series from the early 2000s. It's called Samurai Champloo. But truly it's about what lies underneath what we can see, what we can touch, what we can smell. So it's called Opening, Camino del Guerrero, Sakura Champloo. No importa si tu vida comienza en una isla de asesinos, matando a tu propio maestro en su dojo o recibiendo abusos y humillaciones mientras sirves el té para otros. Nuestro destino es terminar floreciendo en pleno invierno. Nuestro destino es terminar encontrando al samurái que huele a girasoles. Dentro de cada uno, el perfume de lo que no huele. Opening Path of the Warrior, Sakura Champloo. It doesn't matter if your life begins on an island of assassins, killing your own master in his dojo, or enduring abuse and humiliation while serving tea for others. Our destiny is to end up blooming in the heart of winter. Our destiny is to end up finding the samurai who smells of sunflowers. Within each of us, the fragrance of what has no scent. And to end this reading, this poem is about the world, what's happening in the world. I truly felt the departure. And it's an image that it's right on with that one. But it's also about what it's underneath. It's called paz, peace. Quien dice paz, dice belleza. Lo mismo en el tierno, atrabiliario corazón de los amantes que en el espejo oscuro y cambiante del cielo. Allí donde todos los ríos confluyen para dejar de ser los ríos. Lo mismo en su hundimiento que en su traductor. Quien dice paz, dice belleza. Así en la boca sanguinolienta del tigre como en los ojos perdidos del que yace en plena calle, acribillado tras la vendetta en medio de una disputa por el control territorial. Quien dice paz, dice belleza. No dice quietud o esperanza, sino tan solo un momento de verdad. Quien dice verdad, dice belleza, pero las palabras siempre fallan al que le intenta, a quien busca poseerla, la sustancia entre las formas, pues el mundo es velo y quintesencia a través del cambio. Paz para el desconsuelo cantante de las madres. Paz para el coraje y los acordes de todos los que subieron a arder. Paz para los niños, esos huérfanos de casa, que en medio de las ruinas recitan una sura y la aprenden de memoria, plantándola en su tierra fértil, regándola con agüita de sangre de su corazón, para cuando llegue el día en que la ilusión se desvanezca, para las guerras que vendrán y no vendrán, para el antes y el durante, mas también para el después, para cuando la ilusión se desvanezca y ya no haya cuándo ni dónde, y venga la misericordia a cumplir con todas sus escrituras.
Peace. Whoever says peace says beauty, just as much in the tender melancholy hearts of lovers as in the dark and ever-changing mirror of the sky. There, where all rivers converge to cease being rivers, both in its sinking and in its translator. Whoever says peace says beauty, just as much in the bloodied mouth of the tiger as in the lost eyes of the one who lies in the middle of the street, gunned down after a vendetta, caught in the midst of a dispute for territorial control. Whoever says peace says beauty, not loveliness or goodness, not even stillness or hope, but really a moment of truth. Whoever says truth says beauty. But words always fail those who try it, those who seek to possess it, the substance within forms, because the world is veil and quiescence through the tides of change. Peace for the sorrowful singing of mothers, peace for the courage in the clouds of all those who knew how to burn, peace for the children, those orphans of Gaza who amidst the ruins recite, restore, and learn it by heart, planting it in their fertile land, wearing it with little water, the blood of their hearts, for the day when the illusion fades, for the wars to come and not to come, for the before and the during, but also for the after, when the illusion fades and there is no longer a when or where, and mercy comes to fulfill all the scriptures.
Thank you again, George and Peggy. Thank you again, Kate. Thank you again, Jennifer. Thank you again, Kate, Felipe. Thank you again, all of you. It's been an honor and pleasure to share this emotional, but I hope beautiful and truthful moment with you in the land of Whitman, in the land of Frost, in the land of Pound, in the land of Ginsberg, Lowell. Thank you so much.
Okay, Roberto, you have one more time for Roberto. Before we bring Rosie Bello back up for the final activity, I think we have a little time for Q&A. If I could turn this back over to Caitlin Shea, she'll administer that. Please welcome back to the stage, Caitlin Shea.
Thank you so much, George. And we'll do our Q&A in a second. I just have to say how much I love my job, first of all. I get to be in this room and hear such powerful voices all the time. And yesterday I was fortunate enough to be for Gandhi's birthday. There was a celebration at Old Westbury School, and there's a garden there dedicated to Gandhi. And there's really just a connection between Gandhi, between a lot of artists, between Whitman, of course, just of this version of peace that was spoken by both our poets here tonight. Just a very forward-looking way of seeing America and the world. So I just want to quickly read one of Whitman's shortest poems. Sometimes it can be a little long-winded, but he said it perfectly here, very briefly. America, center of equal daughters, equal sons, all alike endeared, grown, ungrown, young or old, strong, ample, fair, enduring, capable, rich, perennial with the earth, with freedom, law, and love, a grand, sane, towering, seated mother, chaired in the adamant of time. And if you look on YouTube later, this is the only recorded version of Whitman's voice that there is. It was on a wax cylinder. It was found in someone's attic a few years ago. Definitely check it. A lot of people say it's the Long Island accent, but you can judge on your own. I give you a little time to think of your questions. Is there anything anyone would like to start us off with? Any questions? Yes, Linda Dickman, our wonderful teacher here at the Birthplace.
Thank you. Our first poet. In the reading of Amit Gabu, did I get that right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is. You want to come up?
Yeah.
I noticed that when you read it in English, you read it with a different tone than when you read it in your native in Bengali. You read in Bengali, you read it in a sense, in ascending emotion. And I wondered what that had to do with it, because is it the way that it's written or the way that you felt it? Or both?
Thank you so much. This is a great question. Because in English, that's the translation, and it was not translated by me. And the rhythm, the main Bengali rhythm I used is called Sharobitto. It comes by 4-syllable meter. So 4, 4, 4, 4. It's very rhythmic.
So I got it.
However,
Whoa.
English translation is not rhythmic, so it's very tough to do the same. As a translator, that poem I did not translate it, first of all. And as a translator also, I see this two language has two different environments. Because in Bengali syllable, it's very interesting. One word, one syllable, or 2 word, 1 syllable. That's all Bengali syllables are. English level, you see that letters, 3, 4, 5 letters. I'm sorry, 1 letter or 2 letters. But English level up to 9 letters, 1 syllable. So Bengali rhythms are very, I would say, musical.
It is.
So that's why you feel that. Thank you for, and it's a great audience. What did I say? Ami Kabo. Say it. Ami Kabo. I really.
Thank you.
We have other questions? Anyone?
Just a statement.
Okay.
The same song. Hearing it in English, I understood the words, but listening to his native language, I felt it. Like a song, the rhythm, everything was there, the melody, all in how he sang it, the high, low,
You know,
more of a song.
Say that poetry is what's lost in translation.
And English did that no honor whatsoever. There were a few things that he did too.
However, I might say that sometimes it gains too. It's not only, it depends. But I believe that the translator did a great job, however, to lay out the foundation of the poem itself, which is incredible, I would say. That translator translated only one poem of mine, which is that one. So
I think it's the English language that let you down with that. I don't even think it's.
Not only that, I don't think he was thinking of rhythm at all. I don't think even.
Well, that's what I mean. He's following your words and trying to translate them, but not following. It's a song. not following the song, if you don't mind me saying so. It's more of a song. It's something that's felt. I don't know a word of your language, but I was like, you know, you want to get up and dance around. Yeah, now.
It's like singing an Italian opera in English.
Doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
Some of your poems, many of them have humor in them, and a sense of delighting in outrage, an outrageous state. Is that characteristic of Bengali poetry, or is that you?
I'm so sorry. Thank you for coming over. It's my librarian from probably both. Because Bengali poetry, many of the Bengali great poets, they have a collection of political poems. And many of my critics say, especially American critics, that when I read your work, it looks like poetry and politics are quite involved. I believe that too. Look at the world. Without politics, without great politicians, I would say the world would not come to this. And without worse politicians, we would not have 6 million killed in Second World War, 3 million killed in Bangladeshi wars, and it's been going on. So my life, this is how I see. The life is full of both. On one hand, I have peace and solace. Another hand, I have war and fighting, bullets, gunpowder, all this. So, and also, my dad was killed when I was 3, so that reflected a lot. I did not mention at all that I wrote an epic, how we are related to the universe, and I was pretty much influenced by Walt Whitman and other epic writer, obviously, Derek Walcott later on. That's been recently translated. That's completely different way of writing, but still, John Digby was reading editing that, he was saying the same thing. Thank you for pointing that out. If I did something that stays as poetry, that's probably mine. And also if that looks like not poetry, that's a different story, and I'm sorry for it. But this is what I look at it. The poetry, politics and poetry, life, full of everything. Thank you, George. You are a great poet.
And Roberto, it's so interesting to hear your work in 2 different languages as well. And I want to mention a big thank you to Jen, who does our events and our social media. She did the translation for us. Thank you, Jen. Modest and all America. But yes. Do we have any other questions? Okay, Linda.
I just have, Roberto, I so much appreciated your work. It was from the depths of your heart. That just came across in the way that you read. And I so appreciated it. And Robert got it in his inflection from what you wrote and what was translated. Are you from Concepcion?
No, my mother is from Concepcion. I'm from Chillán, that it's a little city, very close to Concepcion, like 1
So
hour
Concepcion
driving.
is big. I saw the instruments from the orchestra
Yes,
in
the
Arizona. They have
yes.
some of the instruments in the musical
Yes.
museum out there. And when I wrote a poem about it because it just broke my heart and made me sing at the same time. So I just wanted to say thank you for sharing your beautiful work.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Over there, on stage, yes?
You know, some of us here feel like we're in the shadow of Walt Whitman as poets and trying to, you know, shine our own light, but, you know, with an appropriate, you know, relationship with Walt Whitman. I wonder about you, or about Chilean poets, if you have the shadow of Pablo Neruda over you.
Yes, but it's different for us because we're so little in terms of geopolitics. We're nothing, but we have this strange blessing in our culture to have so many good poets, because we are like little population, you know, like, so if there was only Neruda, it could be, but we have Neruda, Mistral, Huidobro, De Roca. These are our Fab Four. You know, so it's like a table, and it's balanced. So in Peru, they have Cesar Vallejo, and they all feel the weight of Vallejo. If you ask me who is the greatest poet, this is not a horse race or something, but who I think is the best poet in Latin America poetry, Cesar Vallejo, a Peruvian poet. But he was alone in Peru, and all feel the weight, and for us, Cesar Vallejo is also a blessing, because we have this table and now we can have a good glass of wine or water and drink it without it falling. So for us it's a blessing, and then after those Fab Four, we had another Fab Four. I mean poets who deserved, for example, Nobel Prize, but they're not get it, of course, and they're not famous sometimes. Or we have, after those first, we have Nicanor Parra, Gonzalo Rojas, Enrique Lin, Jorge Tellier. So for us, it's a lot to process, but it's a tradition that doesn't weigh on us, but elevated us. Not over them, of course.
With more balance.
Yes, it's like an ecosystem, and they are the big trees, but we can share the fruit, some of their fruit. We can thank for the shadow. We can thank the connection between the earth and the heavens. So, yes.
That's the real deal for you, huh?
It's wonderful to have you, Roberto, here, and
It's my pleasure.
it's a very different setting for you as well, and
Yes, thank
you get
you.
to see the house. And so wonderful.
Yes.
Any other questions before we eat, drink, and be merry? All right, well, thank you all again for your support. It's one thing to say that you support arts and culture, but it's a whole other thing to actually show up for events like this
Yes.
and be part of them and ask questions and really be interested. I feel that way about all of our programs, whether they're poetry, they're painting, they're workshops. There's something to take away. It's not just about learning about Whitman or learning about poetry, but you will walk away with something every single time, and I can say that from personal experience. So thank you for being here. Please eat all the food so we don't, and we'll see you again soon.